Hey everyone. This is another Ascension Glossary video, and the topic for this one is poverty consciousness. Like the other videos, I'm just gonna like read what the Ascension Glossary has here about this specific topic. Once in a while, I'll come back to this one. Um, just feel like it's really important, so I'm making a video talking about it. So poverty consciousness. Mm. It is vital to have a basic understanding of how the monetary system has been designed on Earth to work as an enslavement tool that traps people in materialism, consumerism, and poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness is directly connected to the social engineering of slave race. It is important to understand that poverty consciousness is unnatural to the human race and was specifically designed to conquer the minds of humanity to accept world slavery and world war. People that accept poverty consciousness as a natural way of life become the puppets that carry out the enslavement program for the puppet masters. Poverty consciousness is formed from the set of belief systems, feelings, attitudes, and values that people have associated with their personal fears of safety, which they relate to a lack of money or the lack of acquiring material objects that necessitate their sense of security and protection. When a person feels that they are defenseless, endangered, or threatened by imaginary or physical forces, they can be led to do nearly anything, many times willing to commit harm to others or engage in immoral actions to ensure that they regain the perception of personal safety or security. A person with a fragile sense of self that is totally dependent on validation from the material world can feel mentally threatened at the slightest disruption of their reality bubble. Thus, they are easily mind controlled. Poverty consciousness is the prime pressure point of vulnerability ingrained in all humans entrenched in the 3D mind control of materialism, and thus it is exploited in every way possible by the controllers. It is easy to observe the depths of degeneracy some people are willing to submit to for acquiring any amount of money or perceived security. Uh, this is why it is the primary consciousness trap being set for mass human exploitation. I get like so the only thing I have to say about this is what my problem is with money. Like we as like beings in the world, um, we have the means to produce and use the natural world for the things that we actually need to live. Um, and we've been tricked into using money and thinking money is a necessity because of how convenient it is. But all the convenience that we are able to attain is actually to our detriment, and we don't realize it. Every time that you use money in order to uh, acquire material possessions that give you this sense of convenience, it is you are choosing to um, negate or dismiss your responsibility as a human being and being integral to your environment and nature around you. So you know the way in which societies work all over the earth that use money, they are using that money in order to dismiss their responsibility and put it on to other people that don't have the privilege to be in the state of accepting the convenience that allows them to dismiss their own responsibility. It's always this like pyramid type structure where those who have the convenience, those who have the money to buy convenience, they are taking their responsibility and putting it on those beneath them. And this goes all the way down to, let's say, like third world countries or like countries that have outsourced manufacturing, like that kind of stuff. Like it is always, you know, like, oh, I own a textile company. I know it's going to cost too much to manufacture in the United States, so I'm going to uh, pay people in a different part of the world a less amount of money that they will accept because they're desperate for money, and then you know it just goes on from there. I think that's all I have to say. Triggering fears of insecurity, threat, and helplessness. It is essential to know that by exploiting poverty consciousness mind control in order to manipulate materialism in people, this triggers deep fear based belief systems around personal security, safety, and self esteem. Many people on earth feel terrorized by obsessive thoughts of poverty and homelessness even when it is not happened to them in their lifetime. This memory may connect to other lifetimes, however. It directly connects to the collective unconscious memory of feeling defenseless to the full scale alien invasion that occurred in Sumeria and Egypt. As a result, many humans today have a pathological need to find some version of security and safety within materialism so they can manage the feelings of unconscious personal terror that are a result of feeling completely helpless when in danger. As a result of the materialistic pathology towards feeling safe, when people become obsessed with materialistic validation for security, they also become increasingly narcissistic, spiritually disconnected, and lose feelings of empathy. In the more materialistic societies, such as the United States, people obsessively shop, buying excessive amounts of goods in order to increase their feelings of self worth or to distract themselves from facing unpleasant or challenging issues. Materialists tend to ignore the fact that the global consumerist economy is structured to exploit humanity and drain planetary resources for massive profit for a select few, while directly increasing the slavery, poverty, and suffering in the human race. Um, so I guess one thing I want to say about what I just read is this reminds me of how people talk about like the elites or like people that have the means to acquire massive amounts of material possessions and wealth. I've heard it time and time and again, and I can only believe that this is the case. That all these rich people, like the only people that are determined to acquire the kind of wealth that has been acquired in our world, these people are narcissists. They're psychopaths. They, like it says, they have no empathy. They don't care to look into how it is that their lifestyle and their method of acquisition is actually damaging to not only themselves but the rest of the human race. And that's what happens. These people become spiritually disconnected from like um, their true nature of being, the true nature of how they are integral with their environment. It's all to get away from that in order to become something other than what they are, which is always something that I like to talk about. Becoming something other than what you are. I mean, these people are the best examples of doing that exact thing. So I think that's all I have to say. That system of enslavement. The primary motivation of the controllers is to use threats and fears of personal safety in order to trigger insecurity in people, which is used as a major mind control and manipulation mechanism to incite rampant materialism. In order to continually spread poverty consciousness on Earth, the Orion Group introduced a debt system of currency that would equate monetary enslavement with consciousness enslavement. This ensured that the promotion of wars and human suffering would be converted into mass profits for those in the ruling class. They needed the ruling class to carry out their enslavement agenda by rewarding them with massive financial and corporate monopolies as well as access to unlimited cash reserves. The sellout of the human race was easily accomplished through human greed. Thus, the social engineering behind the death culture um, specifically targets poverty consciousness in the unconscious minds of the masses in order to exploit them in ways that make them complicit with committing crimes against humanity. Through the mind control used to trigger poverty consciousness and addiction to materialism everywhere in the media, people are constantly sensing some level of fear, insecurity, or threat, which motivates them to excessively consume and buy. These same poverty consciousness based belief systems continue to produce separative beliefs perpetrating the cycles of violence, ignorance, hatred, victimization, and enemy patterning between the people of the earth. Poverty consciousness is an effective form of promoting the divide and conquer strategies of the NAA groups to maintain their control over the Earth's resources by routing people into different slave class systems. As an example, people that shop uncontrollably to buy excessive amounts of consumer goods or the latest trends are the materialist slave classes. They are slaves to material objects which keep them locked down in consciousness traps. During this time, it is very important to discern the low quality of forces that are behind the push for materialistic consumerism. Being able to see the unethical and harmful motivations of the rampant service to self mind control broadcast, and being able to clear and neutralize poverty consciousness fears from taking control over your life are especially important at this time. Poverty fears are ingrained deeply in the subconscious mind, and they surface into the conscious mind as fear based thoughts and feelings about personal safety that in turn manifest and multiply into even more poverty consciousness fears. Material poverty fears have been mentally programmed repeatedly into the conscious mind of people since the alien invasion, and are consistently reinforced from childhood to adulthood throughout the working slave class entangled in the controller pillars of society. It becomes the manifested reality for those people, no matter what kind of material resources they actually have access to. Many people in Western society are taught to think that without an excessive amount of material things, they are worthless people. It does not matter how much wealth or money a person has. These factors are not actually related to the state of poverty consciousness. Many people have an abundance of material things, and yet they feel deep anxiety, pushing them to accumulate even more material things. Poverty consciousness is a fear based state. It is a trauma based disease that exists inside the minds of the spiritually bankrupt, not the financially bankrupt. Many of the people with tremendous material wealth exist in states of poverty consciousness and chronic unhappiness, unable to cope with the pressure of maintaining their class position. Do I have anything to say about this? I mean, I've talked about this in other videos. The service to self, like, if human beings were like operating in such a way to gray zones out. I'm not sure. Um, Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Let's see. Surface to self. Yeah, it's something that I've talked about in videos. It's something that I'm just going to keep talking about. The culture that we have. Oh yeah. So human beings and their environment, like we have the means to actually carry out and cultivate traditions based on uh, like individuals learning how to farm, learning how to um, like we could have an abundance of what we actually need to be and live in the world um, through farming, through um, very basic kinds of styles of living, and everything else that's not that is part of this controller agenda. Everything, it's about the necessity for life. It is about what is simple and what is needed in order to be alive and be with your family and be with your loved ones. And there is so much that people are doing that is so unnecessary in the world that it is actually destroying the world. It can't continue to go on like this, and I think that's why this information is so important. Like more and more people need to realize that the things that they are aspiring to and trying to acquire and putting an effort to acquire is actually a detriment to not only themselves but the people around them. And this is in the vast majority of people. I'm sure there are examples of people that are actually doing something good with the technology we would otherwise not have, living such a simple life. But I can't really. I'm not going to go into any examples. Um, all right, that's all I have to say for that. The Black Sun agenda for debt currency. The system of debt-based currency used, excuse me, the system of debt-based currency used as the current global monetary system was originally brought to the Earth by the Alpha Draconis Orion Group. These entities have organized themselves on Earth in what is called the Black Sun Agenda. The Draco-reptilians of the Orion Group view themselves as the most intelligent species in the universe and believe that Earth humans have descended from their biological seeding processes from multiple planets they have conquered. Therefore, they believe humans, as well as the Earth, are their personal property and have instituted a global slavery system via the indoctrination of debt-based currency. One should be aware that on many other planets monetary systems do not exist, and all inhabitants born onto the planet are considered free citizens with equal rights to flourish in the global society that is organized by the planet's system of government. A planetary system ruled by debt currency in which one has to pay for their basic shelter, food, and healthcare from birth is considered a prison planet. Therefore, when a person does not have an accurate context for how money, currency, and economies really work and why they are set up, they are not able to discern the many consciousness traps that are set for the common people. For the Orion Group to institute an effective human slavery system in which they would remain hidden at the top of the pyramid scheme and have total control over the assets of Earth, it is required it required the majority of the masses be consumed by intense fears of survival, threats, and poverty. They engineered poverty consciousness in such a way to victimize humans into class or caste systems in order to make them more pliable and easy to manipulate in consciousness pen they erected around the earth. In the consciousness pen they erected around the earth. And what can I say about that, if anything? Right. So this has to do. I mean, this person is talking about aliens, and like a completely different kind of being that is interacting with with the human beings on Earth that have the resources to be a very influential um, actor, right, in the human uh, organizational structure, right? And now I just have no proof of aliens and stuff, but I know it's becoming like a more popular idea, and a lot more like famous people are talking about this little by little. Um, which I mean, to me, it's like I'm on the fence about this kind of stuff because I have no proof about aliens. For me, it kind of makes sense that there might be some kind of beings that are not from here, because the universe that we've measured, or like space, like the different galaxies that supposedly we see, even that, it's like I don't have evidence for that, so I can't even say that I'm completely on board with this. Although, even if there aren't any aliens, right, it's like the people on Earth that are the elites have the same kind of power of manipulation that another alien kind of civilization would have. So I guess, I don't know. For me, it's like whether or not these aliens exist is not the part of the content which I'm focusing on. I think what's more important is being able to see through um, what has been set up for us to live through. I was born from my parents into this world, and the society in which I live basically tells me if I don't comply, and if I don't agree to being, the agent of securing this system status quo, that I will essentially be destroyed, I'll be hated, and so on. Um, I think if you tried to imagine a world without this kind of government, or like a very simple lifestyle um, that people are complying to in their own life, like all of the problems that we are now seeing arise from uh, the way the monetary system is set up, the way our government is set up, these just wouldn't exist. I've talked about in another video, like people of like within the last 100 years, like let's say like pioneers that were traveling across the country before most of it was like discovered and mapped. Like these people were able to just like live on land free of being bothered, free of intense fears of survival and threats from economic turbulence, threats from poverty. Like these people, um, they had an ancestry, a tradition within their family that allowed them to realize how to behave in their environment in order to produce the means of their own survival. And all of this like economic government, all these ideas were introduced to them, which complicated their life and complicated all of our lives. um, it's just it seems to me like the time in which human beings were allowed to just like simply live on land and cultivate what they can on land for their own survival and their own family survival was the closest that we've ever been to like true human freedom, true human essence, true human ability, like all of this being integral with nature, understanding how nature works, understanding how to cultivate the means by which we are able to survive. Like all of this is actually part of like the true nature of what and who we are in terms of what we ought to be and what we can be. I don't know. I just that's the way I look at it, and I think it's very important. Um, that's all I have to say about that. Quality of energy potential. Human consciousness, perception, as well as attitudes and beliefs reflect the energy potential that is available to that body in that location. When less energy output is available to the masses, this yields a lower quality of consciousness perception, such as the state of survival consciousness. When there is more energy available to the masses, the higher energy output yields a much more developed individual with an overall higher quality of consciousness perception that increases intelligence factors in the masses. The quality of energy potential can be measured through the observation of increasing and decreasing levels of barbarism and violence that become standards of acceptable behavior in the dominant culture of certain Earth demographics. Geographic areas that have been plundered and pillaged with never ending war on the ground for multiple millennia suffer the most energy loss, and the direct consequence of that loss of energy are reflected in the cultural beliefs and attitudes that form in the population of that demographic. To produce barbarism and slavery in any population, the controller uses divide and conquer tactics to systematically produce closed energy systems by imposing gradual increases of energy debt while removing public access to free energy resources. Um, so the first thing that this made me think of while reading it is something that's more, I guess, relatable to internet and YouTube culture, divide and conquer tactics. Essentially, like all the people that are on the internet and they interact with memes, like let's put it this way, like there are people online that they have an internet persona and they spend their time um, trying to locate and present different kinds of memes. Right, so we're talking about like images that are jokes that are meant to entertain and just be enjoyed by the people that are within the same within the same domain of that humor, within the same domain of the ability to comprehend the meme itself, right? So there exists these kind of people, and they do this in order to provide a means for their livelihood. But the different memes that are created in this internet culture are actually divide and conquer tactics. It's like there are memes that are designed to be humorous for a certain kind of person that views them, and typically they're presented in a way that mocks someone of a different demographic. And every time memes like that exist and are enjoyed and propagated, um, this is a divide and conquer tactic. It is taking a range of people that use the internet and use forums that might like present these memes, and they look at that in order to get an idea or a worldview of how to describe other people. So this would be like people like the Virgin Chad meme. This would be like incel. This would be like uh, I don't know, like any kind of word that's meant to label someone as something that is identifiable in such a way that you understand the culture that surrounds that identifiable quality in a person, and then using that to disconnect from uh, like interacting with or regarding that thing that is targeted through like humor and mockery, um, to remove all compassion from oneself. Like these kinds of memes that exist on the internet today are solely meant to take people apart and divide people into subclasses, and then these subclasses of people that would interact and propagate these memes, they have the controllers above them that basically feed them the propaganda that reinforces the terms and memes that only serve to separate people into their sub classes of culture. Um, I really hope that comes off clear. I can't even believe that people don't see it this way. I wrote a comment on YouTube recently. It's just something that sticks in my mind. Like every time you use a meme in order to like signify a person, what you're doing is you are using your worldview to dismiss the compassion that you ought to feel for that person that's signified by the meme. So it's like um, it's just like I said before with the Chad Virgin type of meme. It's like you have uh this thing called Virgin, which no one it's like the people that are on the Chad side, they're like, oh, and you don't want to be the virgin, and then they would have the qualities of this virgin, um, and then they would say, these qualities are undesirable, and people like this, you should stay away from them, cut them off, dismiss them, think of them as something that is less than you are. And then on the other side, there are people who are like, oh, we're Team Virgin, we don't like Chads, we think they're blah 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 blah. Like it's all garbage. It's just like mind rotting material. That's the only reason it exists is in order for you to subscribe to it, and then like um have some kind of like confirmation bias where it's like because you subscribe to all these memes and this worldview that fosters these memes to be something that is actually relevant to reality, which it isn't. They use that in order to um, cultivate the people that are integrating with this system of memes, right? I don't know. I have nothing more to say about it. I think that's as clear as I could make it off the cuff. So if you watch this, thanks for watching and have a good day.